Hey guys, what's up? It is your friendly neighborhood Ooze here, back again with another Isaac Brigman. This time we're starting with the Soul, as you can see there, by the My Stuff screen, plus the Spirit Hearts up there, which is a weird one to start with. It's not really a breaking item, but this is Curse the Blind, and I grabbed it, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I've ever done a The Soul run. And we're, just like last episode, we're staying on hard mode for the foreseeable future. Because I'm anticipating that there are going to be unlockables in Afterbirth that require hard mode, so I might as well get used to it. However, I'm gonna, you know, punch Edmund directly in the pee hole if there's lost stuff. So I'm just gonna ignore that lost exists. That's the plan, I think. So yeah, we're going with the Soul. It's a sweet one. I mean, it gives 2 Spirit Hearts off the bat and also deflects bullets away from you. Bullets can still hit you, but for the most part they are fairly deflected, and it's very difficult for the bullets to actually hit you. But they can. Alright. So, tonight, when I picked my dad up from the train, we got Chipotle, which was awesome. Obviously, Chipotle is the greatest thing of all time. The greatest invention of our generation. And if you don't know what Chipotle is because you live, I don't know, anywhere but America, Chipotle is essentially, most people probably know what Subway is. I don't actually know how big it is outside of America, but I've talked about Subway enough. So, it's like Subway, but instead of getting sandwiches, you get burritos, or tacos, or a burrito bowl, which isn't really anything like a burrito, aside from the things that you get in it, but it's just a bowl of ingredients rather than a wrapped up chunk of ingredients in a tortilla. But the bowl, you get a bit more stuff, which is why I generally get the bowl. You can apparently ask for a tortilla on the side if you want to make your own burrito with just more stuff. I don't really care. The tortilla is like, I mean, it's good. Chipotle tortillas are good, aside from the fact that they're like somehow 1,000 calories or something absurd. They're actually an insane amount of calories. It's not 1,000, but it's like 300 or something for a tortilla, which is kind of nuts. Don't know how that hit me. Maybe because my brain is fucked right now. I feel like my entire angle is off. I'm gonna shift the microphone and hope that we don't get bleepity bleep bloops, and I'm gonna shift myself as well. Alright, the shifting is done. Whoops. The audio looks okay. I'm gonna assume that there's no bleepity bleep bloops, but I can't tell. But yeah, so we got Chipotle, and while we were eating it, we were watching TV, and nothing was on except Jurassic Park. The first Jurassic Park, the one that most people will herald as the best. And I used to agree with that, frankly, but I don't know after tonight. I don't know about that. I don't know about it being the best anymore. It's good. It's from a strictly story perspective, I would agree it's the best. From an effects perspective, yeah, probably the best. But from an execution perspective, I don't know about that. Not after tonight, because I was talking to my dad about Rick and Morty, right? Because I love that show. He doesn't really seem to enjoy it much because he doesn't like things that are, you know, dark, I guess. And Rick and Morty's undeniably dark, but not in a serious way, right? Rick and Morty's like a very comedic type of dark. I mean, it's black comedy, except not really. Black, of course not being in reference to race, but instead being in reference to this thing called black comedy. You should look it up, Google it. But, it's a very, I don't know, it's a very lighthearted sort of black comedy, which is great. But my dad doesn't really like it, but, you know, I tell him about it. He seems to enjoy the ideas in the show. I just tried showing him an episode, and he wasn't a fan, though. Anyway, I was talking about how Rick and Morty does this continuity shit that's crazy cool. How any sort of, like, permanent damage, anything that you'd see permanently, is actually permanent. For example, in Season 1, there's an episode where they get teleported to a different planet. I think it's the party episode. I'm not certain. I think it's the first time that we get introduced to Bird Person. I think that's the episode. But basically, the house gets teleported and leaves a gigantic crater. And every time after that episode, of course, it ends with them returning the house to its original location, and everything is fine and dandy. But it's interesting because every episode after it actually has the crack of where the... Wow, I still don't have a key. This is bullshit. But every episode after still has the crack in the ground where the crater was, and then, you know, the house came back, and obviously it's not gonna suddenly be fixed or whatever, the crack in the ground. So every episode after just keeps that, right? And even like plays into the setting of the house, like weeds grow out of the crack and shit, and it's really cool. And it's like, it's such a small detail, but it makes it so much better because they maintain continuity of, I think, everything. I can't think of a single thing that isn't maintained throughout the entire show. I think all of it is. But I'm not 100% sure. That's the problem. I haven't scoured through every episode of the entire show to find anything that doesn't follow continuity. I just know of the specific ones that are continuous. But I was telling him about that, and then he was like, you know, we're watching Jurassic Park, and he's like, you want to talk about continuity? Look at this. And I got real mad. Because apparently the original Jurassic Park has the worst continuity I've ever seen in a movie. It's honestly horrendous. And a lot of people probably won't remember, but the sequence where the T-Rex escapes its enclosure, right? I'll try and describe this, give you a mental image as best as I possibly can to actually kind of show what I'm trying to say without physically showing you. But when the T-Rex escapes its enclosure, right? It's a giant electric fence, and they're on the tour vans, right? And they're going past it, and there's a crazy storm and shit, right? That sequence. So what happens is, before when they first go by, and they're like, where's the T-Rex? And then the guys in control raise up a goat from this little thing below, right, to feed the T-Rex to get him to come out so they can see it. He doesn't. Goat's still there. On the way back on the tour, goat is still there. T-Rex is not out, and fucking of course it's a bad trip. Anyhow, everything's great. Well, if you didn't notice, the scene, right, the setting of the scene, shows that the goat, the ground that the goat is being raised up to from below, the height of the ground is the same height as the track that these tour vans are on, right? Same exact height. Or at least roughly the same so that it's at perfect eye level, no problem, right? Okay, good. We now understand the scene, the setting of the scene. Okay. So, what happens is, then suddenly something happens, something bad happens, and the T-Rex breaks out, right? They finally see the T-Rex on the way back, and there's like a goat leg that gets hurled onto the top of the van with the kids and the lawyer in it, right? And then they're like, oh god, and then the T-Rex breaks through, right? Again, we're fine, you know, you understand, we've set the scene. Well, here comes the problem. The T-Rex breaks through the fence, the electric fence, right? Again, not a problem. But the problem arises around here. Because the T-Rex breaks through the fence, right? And then crazy shit happens. People start freaking out like, oh god, oh god, oh god. And then the car with the kids and the lawyer in it gets attacked first. And then the lawyer sprints away to the bathroom to try and hide or something. And then the T-Rex is like fucking up the van and shit. And then what's-his-face grabs a flare to distract the T-Rex, and everything's great, right? Then when he's oh fuck off. Then when he's helping the kids get out of this now overturned van that's like all crunched and shit, and the kids are like stuck in the mud and shit. He helps one out, the girl. He helps the girl out of the van, and then as the scene continues, the T-Rex comes back and fucking attacks the van, and he's like, "Don't move! It sees us moving. That's how it knows we're here," or whatever he says. And then they stop moving, and then he's like kicking around the van because that's where people were last. Makes sense. Dinosaur is like, there's something in here. Yeah, whatever. So it's nosing around the van, pushing it around. The van does like a full 180, and then a full 180 again, I think. Pretty sure it does a full 360 at the end. And then they get shoved between the van and the fence, right? The exact same fence that the T-Rex just broke through, right? You can see the fence is all normal to either side, except for this giant gaping dinosaur-sized hole, right? So it clearly broke through that fence. No problem. We're still Gucci. No problems yet. Except for the fact that after being pushed between the car and the fence, the two people who were no longer in the car, they begin to climb down the giant wall that the fence is on top of, and then you get a little confused and you're like, wait a second, wasn't the opposite side of this fence at eye level enough so that we could see a goat at eye level raised up to the floor of the whatever, the thing, the fucking enclosure? There we go. Right? That was our eye level. That's okay. But now suddenly there's like a fucking 30-foot drop straight. Oh god, I have Stompy. A 30-foot drop straight down. Suddenly, right? And now they're like, you know, climbing down on one of the electric fence cables, because clearly the electric fence is no longer on. And so now they're climbing down the 30 feet that, you know, that wasn't how it was before. And then the T-Rex pushes the fucking car over the fence, and then the car falls down, right? With the wheels facing the wall, right? As the car is falling, the wheels are facing the wall. And then the car falls this new imaginary 30 feet drop and lands in a tree perfectly safely. And the kid inside, you know, who just basically was a part of, roughly like a 60-mile-an-hour crash from that fall, is perfectly fine, obviously, when he's found. No problem there. And that's great, except when he's found in the tree is no longer right at the base of the wall that now is a 30-foot drop, but now it's like another 30 feet away from the wall in a tree facing the opposite direction, where now the top of the car is now facing the wall, which, again, the wall is new. So the orientation of the car is all fucked up. The actual positioning of the car is fucked up. The entire setting is not even continuous, right? And that's only where it begins. It gets worse, because now there's the part where fucking what's-her-face, the female lead, and fucking the some other dude, doesn't matter. There, two more characters, including the female lead, now come to fucking see what happened. She sees the car down at the bottom of this incredibly new 30-foot drop sort of thing. She sees the car, and then she's like, oh god, I'm gonna go down there. And then it cuts immediately. There's no pause in the cut, but it's just an immediate cut to her suddenly being at the bottom of this thing, right, checking up on the people in the car. She kneels down and looks in the car, right, says like the name of the guy or whatever, right? She has a line. I don't remember what she said. It was very inconsequential. So she says the line, and then it cuts again back to Jeff Goldblum sitting in the back of the van that they came to the thing with, and then, you know, tremors of the T-Rex walking, and now suddenly she's back up there without the two people that were in the car that, like, nearly fell on them because they went to the Prometheus school of running away from things, and fucking, like, they're not with her. There's no comment on them existing at all, right? It's just brushed under the rug, and then they get in the car and begin driving away because the T-Rex attacks them. But here's the crazy part. The T-Rex attacks them while they're sitting on the track of the tour vans, but once they begin driving, there's no track, there's no fence, they're in a completely different place. They're in, like, the center of the fucking forest somewhere else. That entire sequence just made no sense. It's just cut all over. It's like they had 8 different ideas for that scene and just jammed them all, like filmed them all, and then the editor was like, I don't fucking know what to do with it. What are you doing to me? How am I supposed to figure this shit out? And then just slapped them together in one single sequence. It's fucking stupid. And it's heralded as the fucking one of the best movies of all time. It's good. I mean, it's good as a monster movie. It's good, like, for a lot of reasons, but continuity, shit, man, you guys dropped the fucking ball, like, real hard. Like, it was in your hands, you were grasping the ball, and then you just fucking let it go. You just dropped that shit. I just don't understand. And I don't understand how I didn't notice that, ever, until this viewing. It's crazy, because I've seen that movie a lot. But that's the first time I've ever seen that continuity bullshit, specifically in that sequence. Because that sequence, I mean, what the fuck? That hand was weird. That is definitely the most just fucking horrific example of continuity errors in any blockbuster movie, but specifically it's the worst in any Jurassic Park movie for continuity errors. That sequence. I mean, like, people shit on fucking Lost World or 3 all the time. Rightfully so. They're not good movies. They're, like, fine, but they're not good. But dude, they at least had their continuity, you know? They didn't have shit like that. Like, they weren't good, but, you know, they didn't just hurl around random cuts and assumed things. Like, it literally is just, like, implied scenes for that entire sequence, you know? It's just chock full of implied action. Well, not implied action, but, like, implied bits of the scenes, you know? Like, when she went down to check on the people that were at that moment, like, stuck underneath a car. When she went down to check on them, and then just nothing happened. There was no interaction between them. It never showed them in the same shot until much later in the movie. And then they were, like, on their own and, like, slept in a tree before a fucking Brachiosaurus woke them up. And then the girl who's supposedly super into dinosaurs, not nearly as much as her brother, but she's clearly into dinosaurs, has no idea that Brachiosaur, you know, the one that's eating leaves right next to her, she has no fucking idea that it's an herbivore, because she's apparently a fucking retard. I don't know. It really bothered me. It really, I don't know, it got to me, man. The continuity errors just were painful. I wish I could get that Curve Torn. I desperately wish I could. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if none of you guys remember any continuity errors like that. Because honestly, I didn't know they existed until my dad, like, pointed out that first one. And then I was just watching for continuity errors and just non-stop. I mean, like, I saw one earlier in the movie when Fatty Mick, Whipped Cream Man, I don't remember his name. But the fat guy who, like, was really ornery and apparently was their code dude or whatever, but it was also contracted to, like, steal dinosaur embryos for some other, whatever, it doesn't matter. That guy, in the part where he's, like, testing the whipped cream canister, you know, to see if it would be convincing or whatever, and see if there was actually whipped cream in it. When he tested it on his own hand, and then he like wiped it on the pie that was on a table behind him, right? And then you look at his hand, and you want to know what's in his hand? Fucking nothing. It's suddenly clean. And then on the next cut, he's cleaning his hand with a napkin. Like, it's fully clean, and then he cleans it. I don't understand. Like, they gotta get somebody on fucking, I don't know, continuity. I just don't get it, man. Continuity is like such an easy thing to not fuck up. But it's such a fucking common thing to fuck up, apparently. And not only continuity errors, but just, I mean, tons of really stupid, dumb little errors that make no goddamn sense. Just crop up in movies all the time. Like the fucking... in Dark Knight Rises, on the rooftop battle with Batman, Catwoman, and the other dudes. That rooftop fist fight that happened. There was a dude who just took a fall out of nowhere. Like, he literally just took a fall out of nowhere. And everybody knows about that one, obviously. Because it's so fucking goddamn obvious. But, like, how does that happen? Maybe they shot it and they were just like, eh, whatever, it's too late to go back. We're done. You know? It'll cost too much money. We're done here. I don't know how that shit happens, man. They should hire a continuity guy. I feel like continuity guys in TV and movies, that's like the QA testers, you know? I feel like they're needed. they're needed and underappreciated. But apparently a good amount of people don't agree that they're needed. I don't remember what this does. Pandora's box. I want to say it gives me spirit hearts, so I'm gonna say fuck that. Alright. This is fine. That's fine. This is good. That's good. And, you know what? Let's toss 3 cents in here for good luck. And make it 141. I don't know the significance of 141. It's just 141. Don't worry about it. We're good. Let's go. Yeah, so I don't know. They gotta get a new continuity guy. In 1993, of course. I don't know, it was shocking. It was shocking to see a movie so highly held as, like, you know, this epitome of good filmmaking with just riddled with horrible continuity. And it's not even just like basic continuity of like, oh, his shirt is now folded differently after the cut. It's like the entire setting just changes on one cut. That's not good. That's the opposite of good. Isaac. Yeah, I don't know. It was such a fucking weird little thing. And it's not even little. Like, it's a gigantic thing. Everybody complained about in the original Jurassic Park how it's like, dinosaurs are supposed to have feathers. These dinosaurs do not have feathers. And then, you know, they answered that in Jurassic World, which honestly at this point, after rewatching Jurassic Park for, I don't know, like a fucking 1, 2, 3, around like maybe 32 times. That's a joke. I don't know how many times I've seen it. A good amount. Definitely more than 5. But specifically beyond 5, not quite sure. But you know, after rewatching Jurassic Park for however many times, I can honestly say I actually think Jurassic World was better. And I know people are gonna get really butt mad because they're like, oh, Jurassic World was just a walking, talking cliche. Did you see Jurassic Park? Like, holy fuck, man. It's not like they changed anything. It was pretty true to Jurassic Park form with all of its fucking cliches. I don't know, man. In fact, I would say Jurassic World probably had less cliches. Obviously, the final scene of Jurassic World was pretty inexcusable. However, I don't believe one single scene can ruin a movie. Which is why I don't think the one single scene with the T-Rex and the shit ruined Jurassic Park. I still think Jurassic Park's a great movie. But, if we're gonna compare one sequence being, you know, just this weird cliched thing of like giant like kaiju battles except with dinosaurs, versus, you know, not keeping track of what the setting is supposed to be for a scene over the course of, you know, a half hour. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with the one that the director doesn't even know what the fuck scene they're in. I'm gonna say that one's a bit worse, for sure. Also, the length of the cigarette that the security guy was smoking the whole time, it just changed constantly. There was no continuity with it. And that's a small thing. That's one of those small continuity errors that when most people point them out, other people criticize them like, oh, how do you care? Oh, his handle's slightly in a different spot. Oh, whatever. But listen to me, alright? When they make it a point in one scene that he fucking, you know, lights a new cigarette, and then in the next scene it's worn down, and then in the scene after it, in the next cut, like 30 seconds later, it's like, you know, the same cigarette, except now it's got like half of it on it. Like, literally, it went from him smoking it down all the way to the filter in one cut, to the next cut it being like half of a cigarette left, right? That's a bit ridiculous considering you spent the 15 seconds of a scene a minute ago. You dedicated that time to him lighting a new one. I feel like you might want to do the same again, or at the very least, I don't know, not just suddenly have a cigarette that's, you know, half still there when he was just smoking basically the filter at that point. I don't know. It seems a bit lazy, I would argue. And again, like, yeah, that's one of the smaller things, smaller continuity errors that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but it's the fucking principle of the matter. And I mean, the movie's chock full of those tiny little continuity errors. It's just tons of them. Tons of them. Also, yeah, here's more tiny ones. How about this? When the scene with the baby raptor hatching, you remember that one? First of all, let me just talk about that robo arm that was clearly fully automated, or at least they were intending for it to seem fully automated. The little robo arm that was turning the eggs, which apparently was like relevant. I don't know. They commented on it, and I didn't see how it was particularly relevant. But they turned the eggs, right? The robo arm that was automated was rotating the eggs in the nest to, I guess, I don't know. I'm not sure what the purpose is for that. I'm not some sort of bird scientist or something. But yeah, so the robo arm was turning the eggs, fully automated, and then, out of nowhere, because one egg begins to hatch, and everybody starts freaking out. That's fine. You know, that's cool. But the problem arises when everybody's going like, oh, it's hatching. And then the robo arm fucking goes over and like picks up the egg instead of rotating it like all the other ones. Instead of rotating it, it just picks it up, right? Well, that's weird. That's some fancy ass technology. It can tell when an egg is hatching. So it picks up the egg and then hands it to one of the people there. And then the person puts it down, and the robo arm is like around it, right? It's like, it's basically the egg is in between the robo arm pincers, right? That's where it is. And then they do 2 cuts of that being the case, of the egg being in the middle of the pincers, not being held, but just in between the pincers. And then on the next cut, the robo arm is gone. It doesn't exist in the scene. It's just gone. It's gone. It just vanishes. Why? Where'd it go? Did it wheel away? Did it finish its job of rotating eggs, dramatically picking up the one that was cracking and handing it to somebody, and then they just fucking left it and it wheeled away over to the other side of the fucking research lab, but incredibly silently? Like, I don't get it. Where'd it go? Nah. Sure. And like, again, small continuity error. Not very impactful to the overall thing. But here's the problem. When you collect, you know, tens of continuity errors over the course of a few minutes, we're gonna have to have a talk about it, no matter how small each individual one is. I think that's only reasonable. But, yeah, anyway. So I should start, like, marketing myself as, like, a continuity checker to Hollywood. Right? I think if I pointed out the amount of continuity errors in Jurassic Park, Lord of the Rings, and Star Wars, right? Every continuity error in every one of those movies, do you think they'd hire me to check their continuity? Because they'd probably be like, oh shit, these are the greatest movies of all time, and fucking these things are just riddled with continuity errors. This, oh Jesus, and this guy knows where they are. Alright, yeah, no, you're hired. Fucking get in here. Either that or they'd be like, what the fuck are you on about? I'm not paying you money. But, you know, say la vie or something. Also, is c'est la vie actually the way to pronounce it? I think it is, right? All I know is that French gets fucking butchered when it's in sayings. Like, people always butcher the specifics of French sayings. So I'm assuming c'est la vie is maybe also victim to that. But I don't know, I feel like it's probably correct. I don't know, I took French for a few years, and I'd say c'est la vie is the way to pronounce it. Although I also would not have ever known that it's not pronounced coup de grace, it's coup de grace. I never would have known that just off of taking my French for, like, I don't know, how long was it? 3 years? Yeah, 3 years of French. I wouldn't be able to tell you that it's coup de grace instead of coup de grace. I'd be like, yeah, it's coup de grace. Or coup de grace. No, but it's coup de grace. With a s. And I know that because everybody who plays Dota 2 calls it coup de grace. That's PA's ultimate, her passive crit that does a shitload of damage. Everybody calls it coup de grace. And then the commentators one time, like a couple of years ago, one of them was like, I thought it was coup de grace. And then they had this like huge discussion about it, and then Reddit was like, it's coup de grace! And then that was that. I mean, that pretty much sums it up, the entire situation. So, there you go. Today I learned Reddit. TIL. Although today, like, years ago, I learned. So, Y-A-I-L. Yeah, that one. Sure. Fuck off. This is the worst floor. I hope I don't die. I want to win this one. Real bad. But if I keep getting really fucking shitty rooms, it's not looking great. Oh, also, back to my thing about, they should hire, continuity checkers. something something QA testers. Let me clear something up for you. QA testers generally do a great job. The problem is when something gets fucky, you know, something broken enters a game, everybody is quick to be like, fucking QA testers. That's not always the case. In fact, very rarely the QA testers wanted to fix it. They like pointed it out. They were like, this is how you do it. This is what it is. I don't fucking know. Like, you guys should fix this. And then the people in charge are like, I don't want to spend the money, so... Nah, just leave it. It's fine. Nobody will notice. At the very least, that's what Ubisoft does. Apparently, that's what made Watch Dogs so shitty. But, yeah. So, I just want to clear that up. Fuck off! God! Let me walk! Alright. Alright, it's fine. We're here now. Everything is fine. No problems, man. Okay, alright. Chill. Death. Just chill. Chill the fuck out. Chill the fuck out! Chill the fuck out! Listen to me, Death. You need to chill the fuck out. Just chill the fuck out, man. Alright, let's try and walk a straight line upward. Do you think we can do it? Yes! Yes! Fuck yes! Oh, yes! Oh yeah, so back to what I was saying. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if there were already continuity checkers being employed at, like, places. I don't know, film companies? I don't fucking know the correct terminology. But I'm sure there are. It's just that it's like, hey, so this is fucked up, and they're just like, yeah, but we already filmed it, so... Yeah. Nah, it'll stay. It's fine. Nobody will notice. And then people don't notice, and it's alright. And then it turns into this nice little Easter egg for people who are gigantic fucking dweebs like me to find later on. And be like, did you see the part in Star Wars Episode 6 where Harrison Ford runs away from the bunker and then there's a quick jump cut of him in the same location and you can see the reflection of him on the plexiglass behind him because it was an actual explosion in that location. So they had to be sure that he was safe from debris, so they shot him in front of plexiglass that they set up so he wouldn't get harmed by the explosion. And you could see it in the movie. It's still in the movie. They didn't fix it. You could see the glare. It's really cool. You know, people like that. That's true, by the way. But, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I spent, like, half that episode with my fucking nasally dweeb voice. Jesus Christ, man. I hope you enjoyed watching that episode of The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And also viral my shit on Reddit. Thanks, guys. Bye. That's what I would say if I was a fucking dweeb, but I'm not. That's right. I'm cool as shit. You know it. Yeah, that's right. I'll fucking see you next time, babe. What the fuck am I? What the fuck? I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what came over me. But yeah, bye.